What if you took golf, one of the oldest sports in the world, and combined it with a brand new multi-million-dollar high-tech experience? Oh, you'd have TGL. I'm Bradley Hasemeyer, and on this episode of Innovators Powered by Best Buy, we're going to learn all about this brand new league. Well, thank you so much for being here. We're so excited to talk to you. This is great. Thank you.
You're welcome. It's fantastic to be here.
Not only am I excited to talk about TGL presented by SoFi because Best Buy is a founding partner, but also because it's tech. We love to talk tech. And this isn't just little tech. We're not talking like little microchips. We're talking giant simulator screens. We're talking rotating greens. And, of course, tech is, par for the course for us. I'm going to have lots of golf puns, of course, throughout. Thank you for that. But it's super exciting. So let's start things off with who you are, your role with TGL, and then let's get into a little bit about what it is.
Yeah, thanks, Bradley. I'm Andrew McCauley. I'm Chief Technology Officer for Tomorrow Sports and TGL. My team's ultimately responsible for the competition you're going to see, the gaming, the rules. We got some agronomy stuff in there with real turf, and then all the tech that it takes to operate a venue, a stadium, small stadium, as well as all the corporate technology that any company needs to run a business. So yeah, it's a fun role.
And let's just get into define TGL. What does it stand for? And let's get into this because I think people may have seen it on social. They've probably heard about it, especially if they play golf. But let's go from soup to nuts. Like, what are we getting into here? The way it reads is really cool.
Yeah, so Mike McCarley, a founder, had this vision of putting golf into the stadium, and I helped try to bring that into reality. So, what do you need to have a golf simulator? You need to have a screen. You need to have some tech that tracks the ball. You got to have a place to hit from. You've got to have projectors, as you mentioned, to put the image on the screen live of the game that you're playing, and that technology's been around for quite a couple of decades, right? Golf simulators. But the challenge for us was the scale and size of this thing. So that screen, we bumped up to 64 feet wide by 53 feet high. So what's that? 4 or 5 stories of a building.
That's wild.
You've seen probably some of the pictures of players standing at the bottom of it.
Oh yeah, the scale of it's enormous.
Yeah. And that was for a number of reasons. We want to be able to hit from way further back than a regular golf simulator. So the tee shots are going to be from 35 yards away from that big screen. And obviously, as the ball starts to fly that distance, its trajectory is going higher and higher and higher. So the further back you go, you simply need a bigger screen in order for the ball to hit it, right? It's pretty simple. But there was a lot of calculations that went into how far back can we go? How big, therefore, does the screen? We took analysis of elite player shots from playing on tours around the world. And so we used all that trajectory and that data to determine finally the placement of these things.
So yeah, let's also get into, you kind of brought up this idea of like a golf simulator. The average person may hear this and think, oh, it's just a more high-tech simulator. But this is an entire league. There's new rules. There's teams that are all over the country. There's going to be a tournament that's coming, and so talk me through, what viewers are going to see.
Yeah, so the technology simply just enables the league and this concept, right? It's purely an enabler, which allows us to put it in this indoor stadium. It allows for the fans, both online and in person in the stands, to see every single shot, just like if you sat in the stands or watched on television, a soccer game, a basketball game, you see every single shot, and that's not the case with traditional golf.
Yeah, in traditional golf, obviously, if you've watched it on TV, you would even recognize people have to post up, and then may only see a golfer for a few minutes, and they swing, and then you don't know where the ball goes. You're just kind of hanging. So much more interactive, and kind of like the viewer can kind of be a part of it now.
Yeah, that's right. So with that premise, we created 2 teams that are going to play each other on every match night. These teams are made up of a roster of players who are the best players in the world. And our schedule on Mondays and Tuesday nights means it can interleave with the other schedule they have for playing other tournaments. And so on that Monday or Tuesday night, live on TV, you're going to see in a 2-hour time frame, one team play another team. There'll be a winner, there'll be a loser, and that will count to that team's season standings.
Okay, so I can't even imagine what it would take to go from basically a bar napkin of like, I have an idea, to what we're about to see. It is overwhelming for me to take 2 kids, myself and my wife, on a road trip, and I know all the variables. So how long has this been in process, and what have been some of the things you've had to overcome in this? I mean, you talked about the size of the screen, obviously using math that I felt like I would never need to know. Sine, cosine, and tangent, I'm sure, are involved in there somewhere.
A lot of polynomials.
Yeah, exactly. Binomials. Oh boy, you're giving me the shakes. So how did this begin, and how long has it taken to get to where it is today?
Yeah, I think Mike's idea originally is probably 4 or 5 years ago. I joined 2.5 years ago to try to help turn his vision into reality, I guess, right? He had this large scale aspect, and a good team of us here figured out over probably 6-7 months, I would say, with a bunch of initial R&D and proof of concepts, how we could actually make this work. I'd say there were a lot of probably in all startups where you're doing something completely different. There's a bunch of naysayers, right? Oh, that can't be done, or that won't work, and you just
for sure.
I'm an optimist to a fault, which I think helps in these situations to say I think we can, and just continuing to iterate and solve the problem of aligning worlds between real world and virtual world on that screen. That ball's got to hit the screen, and that virtual ball's got to continue from exactly the same spot. And we've got like 3 different technologies involved that all had to be aligned, and it took a long time.
Is there special? You just said the ball has to hit the screen, so I'm imagining it's not a traditional golf ball. So what are there? It is. So it has to be able to hit the screen. It doesn't break the screen.
Nope. We spent best part of a year figuring out the magic layers of fabrics that allow a projected image to look good on it, the ball not to leave a imprint in the screen because you don't want dimples all over the screen, and it not fly back at the golfer. It had to deaden.
Right, that's true. It
down.
can't bounce back like throwing a tennis ball at your garage door.
Yeah. So in the lab we had a ball cannon with compressed air. That was a lot of fun. And
no
we
way.
were firing that thing at all different fabrics, and some of them it just went straight through the fabric. Other things that left a dimple, and it's a little secret 3 layers of different materials. That was the final answer.
Amazing. Okay, so it's not like the golfers are using their equipment hasn't changed.
Correct.
It's the same clubs out of their bag, the balls that they use, all that. So all that's the same. I was curious about that because I just assumed, like in a simulator or like a video game, and you kind of brought up this idea of gaming, and I think the esports world is a $1 billion industry. A lot of times what we see are people who are good at video games every now and then may transition into the quote real world, right? You see this in racing games sometimes. But what you guys are doing is kind of the other way, which is you're taking high profile pro golf athletes from the real world and putting them in this sort of virtual, let's call it mixed environment because they're physically there and they're hitting and all that. What an interesting kind of retroactive way to go about it. Did you get pushback from players, or were they like, this is what I've been waiting for?
I'm not sure about the last part. When you do something new, I don't think anyone's been waiting for it.
That's true. No, it's not like you're making it a better version of what's already there. This is from scratch.
Exactly. And so the awesome part is the players have had given us amazing feedback as they've come through. Even though we presented to them and given them information ahead of time, until they come in and you hit that shot and you're hitting off real grass and you hit that shot and it flies 35 yards before it hits a wall, they're just not used to that.
And then it keeps going.
And then
they're seeing it on the screen. They're like, but what has happened? My mind is going crazy.
Yeah, and they see it and it tracks. I mean, these are the best players in the world. They know what golf shot they hit, right?
Right.
It's
Sure.
not like the rest of us. Well, I don't know how to hit that, right?
Exactly.
They know that they hit a baby fade at a 12-degree launch angle.
Yeah, that's going to go 212 yards.
Exactly. And that's what it does. And so when they see it in the virtual world carry on and do exactly what they hit, they're like, okay, I get it.
And what about the rotating green? I've seen this video of like basically a lazy Susan that someone stuck a putting green on top of, and it's moving around. Or if you go to a car show, it's like with the car is on and it's spinning around. So what was this idea, and how does that play into the game?
Yeah. So we've only talked about the screen end of this thing so far, right? What happens when you get within 50 on the green or within 50 yards of the green in the virtual world? We now have an exact replica of that at the other half of the field of play. So they hit that last shot, they stick it 12 feet right of the pin, they turn around, and a light shines down at exactly 12 foot right of the pin where they left it on the real physical green behind them, which part of that, as you said, is a massive turntable. So that turntable is 41 yards wide. It has 3 bunkers on it. It has the putting surface. It has rough. It has fairway. So they hit it in there, and light shines down. They place their ball at the center of the bullseye on the light. The light goes off. Now that ball's in play, and they make the 12-foot putt for birdie, win the hole, and beat the other team on that hole, right? So problem was, if that was exactly the same green every single hole, that would be a little boring. And we've established these are the best players in the world. They would also kill it. Just like they'd get used to every single putt. And by hole 9 and 10, 11,
they're closing their eyes, hitting it backwards. Yeah,
exactly. And so we wanted to create an arena that could morph and change. And so one of the clever ideas, sitting in the 3 or 4 of us sitting in a kitchen at the office 2 years ago, was, hey, I know, what if we could spin it around and change it? And then it was like, oh, what if we could also re-undulate the putting surface with hydraulic jacks so that it would change from one hole to the next? That sounded like a crazy idea and just the kind of thing we were after. So
totally.
we went after it, and it got bigger and bigger. The whole designers, golf course designers that we use to build our holes in the virtual world, and this real section of it, said you've got to put the bunkers close to the putting surface. If it's not close, best players in the world, they'll never be in those bunkers, and you want the penalty for missing the placement on the shot. So that moved the bunkers from outside the turntable on the turntable. Turntable got bigger and bigger. It's up to like 500,000 pounds in weight now, because it's got an entire green on top of it.
Half a million pounds.
Half a million pounds. Oh my gosh. And it just rotates smoothly to a very specific degree of rotation that we've set for that hole. And then players walk off, they go back to the screen end to their tee shots, and while they're doing that, green rotates to the next degree for the next hole.
And the ground like morphs to create it.
Our maintenance crew run out, change the pin position if it requires it from that hole to the next one. And in less than 3 minutes, when the players are walking back to hit their putts or chips on the next hole,
they're looking around like, wait,
what changed?
I was just here, right? Yeah. Same stadium, right? Yeah, that's amazing. What a cool piece of technology that is.
Yeah.
What are some of the things that you guys had to overcome? On our podcast, we love to talk to people about, how the brand or the product made it to the shelf. What were there specific times that you thought, I just don't know if this is going to work, guys? Or were there times that you were like, I think we're dead in the water. We don't have the money. We don't have the backing, like any of those types of things?
From a technology standpoint, in the early days, I'd say it was trying to get the ability to hit a golf ball from, let's say, anywhere. Most golf tracking technology out there requires the ball to be placed in a very specific spot so that it knows that that's where its origination point is, and it can track it. We didn't want that. We want this to be as realistic as we could possibly make it. Everything else is real, so it's got to be real grass, real sand, real rough, and we've got to be able to drop it or place it anywhere they want and hit it from that point. And I think, the answer from the earlier days is it took a lot of iterations and different companies involved and partners of ours to get that actually working. It took a long time. And at some point, you're like, wow, have we bitten off more? Push through those things. And here we are. It works great.
And that's a pretty important part of the game, the ability to track the ball.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's talk a little bit about the way the league is set up. The teams are city-based. So tell me a little bit about kind of how that works.
Yeah, so a big part of TGL is obviously the team aspect. And so from the very beginning, this was going to be a team sport. You got two teams playing against each other on every match night. We're the league. TGL is the league, and owners have bought teams in that league, and the first 6 are from across the country, and they are city-based because fans will naturally flock to the city that they're already familiar with. They already are New York sports fans, so they will support New York Golf Club, and they will love it when New York Golf Club beats Boston Common Golf Club, right?
Right.
It's just natural. It'll be built in from the beginning without us having to do anything.
Yeah.
So that's why they were city-based, and they're all around. So you got New York, you got Boston, you got the Bay, which is San Francisco-based. You've got LA, you got Atlanta, and then you got Jupiter, Florida.
I love that. And I'm excited to see some of the swag coming out, some of the merch. That's going to be really cool too, because I love merch. So.
Yep, you can get that merch right now, and definitely gonna be ramping up as we get even closer.
I'm gonna order some right as we finish.
Fantastic, thank you.
And then people can buy tickets, obviously, to go to the stadium and attend and be a part of it.
Yes, they can. Seats, about 1,500 seats in our stadium. There's not a bad seat in the house. You're really close to the players. You're close to the action, so it's going to be a great experience if you're there in person. And then, of course, millions watching on TV in the US and around the world will get an amazing production and view of this live sport.
Now, are you a golfer? What's your golf background?
I am guilty as charged. Yes, I grew up family amateur, nothing significant, but golfing family, father.
Yeah.
Brother, both play, and still to this day, if we find ourselves in the same part of the world, we'll go play around a golf, right? So,
I mean, do you just kind of like, everyone leaves for the night, you kind of look around, flip the switch, and go out and hit? Have you been able to play on this?
I have, and we've had multiple labs over the last 2 years.
Labs, yeah, we're gonna have another one, guys. Bring my friends in for another lab.
That's right.
What's it like for you as a non-pro? Is it super challenging, or does it just feel really natural? Just like, because most of the people listening here, for the most part, are amateurs, are weekend golfers, are fans. What is that experience like?
In the lab, it was great. You get to the real venue here, and we've put up 2 massive LED walls left and right of the hitting screen. So while 64 feet wide screen seems unmissable, you're puckering up a little bit on that tee, thinking, I can't hit the left or right. I'm going to damage this multi-million-dollar LED wall.
Oh my gosh!
Even some of our pro players, their first reaction is like, "Oh, hang on a minute, I'm feeling a little bit nervous right here," which is awesome. Because
that is awesome.
If they're on the first tee of a major championship, their heart's racing a little and they're a little nervous.
Yeah.
And again, we're trying to make this and succeeding at making it as realistic as it could possibly be made.
Well, I love this I'm getting this image of like early days of space exploration. How you had a room of scientists like, how are we going to get these guys on the moon? I don't know, or Apollo 13, like, how are we going to get them home? Okay, they have duct tape, they have a pencil, they have, it's you and a huge team innovating something that's never been done before and doing it at such a high level that it's attracting pro players. This isn't just like, oh, this will be a fun place for me to have a bachelor party. It's like, this is a legit league that's attracting top level talent. So I know that's got to be rewarding when you work together on this and you can, see it come to fruition. That's got to be fun.
It so is, and then, then the personal part is just having these pro golfers come in, use it, and go, yeah, that's real.
Wow.
That's ultimately what we were shooting for. Is
Yeah.
how do you make this indoor stadium environment be like real golf?
Yeah.
And the ultimate test was the best players in the world saying, yeah, it is.
Congratulations on your whole team, what you guys have been able to pull off. This is very exciting.
Thank you. Yeah, we're super proud to show it to the world here pretty soon.
Great. And I'm already going to get my clubs just for a couple months from now so that I can be a part of the inaugural bad golfers meetup. I'll be at that one.
There you go. Come down and we'll kick everybody out at night and you and I'll just play.
That would be amazing. Okay. It's a deal.
Okay.
It's a deal. All right. Thank you so much, Andrew. Have a
You're
great day.
welcome. You too. Thanks, Bradley.
Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you next time.